Hey, hello, I'm JulieJo. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're not new here, welcome back. Today is quite the doozy. Some trigger warnings, excessive lies, and let's say sensitive topics, we'll put it that way. I am going to be reading from my script because it's literally so wild that I have to try and stay organized as best that I can. I'm going to hit the topics quick and hard. I'm going to go in, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to move on, because if I typed out everything I possibly could say about it, we would be here for hours. And I don't have hours today. I'm about to go see the Barbie movie. I want you to take a moment and imagine the fear again that many of us felt during the years of 2020 and 2021. The loneliness that impacted so many of us, and the grief that many of us had to experience for multiple reasons. During this time, social media grew like it had never grown before. So many people craved human interaction of any kind that they could find, and hoping for information on what was going on in this world. Many professionals of all kinds started social media to bring awareness to what was going on in their field. One of those professions was impacted possibly the most by the pandemic, and that was the medical field. From nurses to epidemiologists to doctors, one of the biggest platforms that this happened on was TikTok. But with this comes the possibility of people faking and misleading others to get the attention and notoriety that many of those medical professionals got. Today we're going to look at one of the most infamous so-called medical professionals and the information that came out about them. I hope this video reminds us to take things with a grain of salt. Do not give your loyalty and fight tooth and nail for someone on the internet that you don't know. Be wary of parasocial relationships and use logic when having them, because in the end, people only show you what they want you to see. Let's get started.
It's the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head.
Today we're going to be looking at a TikToker named TJ Hardy, or Tyler Hardy, also known as Snack.Pax on TikTok. They are no longer known as that name after everything came out about who they are and what they've done. A large TikToker named Our Exorcist, or Savannah is also her name, and I will be using those interchangeably, as well as TJ Hardy and Pax. Our Exorcist did an entire series about this situation. While she wasn't the only one that covered it, she was someone that I'm mutuals with that covered it extensively from beginning to end, and I'm going to be using most of her information. I will be sharing some information that she gave me through DM about the situation as well. You may check my other resources below. I'm just going to break it down to the basics and be straightforward here. So let's get started on the lies of TJ Hardy. Your question might be, how did people figure this out? What was the starting point? The way everything unfolded was due to a little white lie, or also known as a fib. He talked about how he got verified on Twitter for all of his hard work and whatnot, but I guess what he didn't realize is that Twitter tells you if you purchase it or if you were verified because you are notable. Well, when you look at it, which is what Our Exorcist did, it showed that he paid for it by being a subscriber to Twitter Blue. That was odd to her, and just a really odd thing to lie about in general. She mentioned to me in DM that someone sent it in their group message, and it was just a weird situation. Like, why did he lie about it? It's such a small thing to lie about. Easily provable.
I finally got verified on Twitter. After trying for the past 11 months, I finally got it. Just in time to find out that everyone can get it for $8 a month.
So that video's confusing, this tweet's confusing, because you bought your verification. Did you not know that Twitter tells you the difference? Let me show you. This is one of my brilliant doctor friends. He's got a verified account, and his says it's verified because it's notable, i.e. he did not buy it.
That's when it took a nosedive and became one of the most wild stories I've ever heard. Savannah started to do some digging, and I think before we get into the lies, we should look at his resume. I also want to say, if you don't like Our Exorcist or the work she does, that's fine. You don't have to. However, this story is crucial, and I think what it does is it teaches us all a lesson on social media. So please stick with me and know that the work done in this was very important. This is what he said about himself and who he was on TikTok. This is what his resume says. He said he went to NYU, Rory Myers College of Nursing, and he became a registered nurse between 2001 and 2005. Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health, Master Master of Public Health, Molecular Epidemiology between September 2005 and May 2007. University of Southern California, Master of Social Work and Adult Mental Health, September 2018 to May 2020. And then Vanderbilt School of Nursing, Master of Science, Midwife and Nursing Midwifery, 1942 to May of 2022. What if I told you every single thing on his education list was a lie? That he didn't even graduate high school until 2003, and sometimes he says 2004. So how could he possibly have a BSN between 2001 and 2005? What if I told you he wasn't born in 1942, which I bet you could guess? Therefore, he couldn't have gone to Vanderbilt University School of Nursing between 1942 and May 2022. How can you get a Master's of Public Health from 2005 to 2007 when he graduated from high school, he says in 2003, sometimes he says 2004. And the dates of the University of Southern California, as well as him living in Colorado at this time, just doesn't make sense as to how he got a Master's of Social Work. He created this video to prove he went to Columbia University.
I mean, I couldn't possibly ever show this, could I? You got me.
Not you covering up the Southern in Columbia Southern University to make it seem like you didn't lie about attending Columbia University and graduating in 2007 when you actually graduated from an online non-accredited institution 3 months ago and still only managed a 3.25 GPA and you graduated late. Yikes. You've been calling yourself an epidemiologist a lot longer than that. So enjoy those felonies, you arrogant.
But he has his hand placed over a word. That word is Southern. He went to Columbia Southern University. Not only that, but our exorcist found his paper he had written to Columbia Southern University. It was also confirmed by Columbia University themselves. He then made a video to explain more.
Of course it says Southern. Let's talk about this, because it's just a diploma mill, right? I have an accredited degree from an accredited school. Columbia Southern University is accredited by the Distance Education Accrediting Commission, or DEAC. DEAC is recognized as an institutional accrediting agency for distance education by the U.S. Department of Education and the Council for Higher Education Accreditation. So, there you have it. I also worked at McDonald's when I was in high school, so clearly that proves I'm not an epidemiologist either. I've earned some sarcasm. Stop telling me to get off the internet. It's never gonna happen, and I will be as smug as I want to be.
But with that being said, here is what he said in his review to the school. Let me just start off by saying that I could have received the same education by going to one of those online services that basically prints off a fake diploma and fake transcripts. I have 2 academic integrity violations. One was because I missed a citation, and the other was because a pop-up blocker popped up during my exam, which was from the Proctor company, and the SUC looked at my review and denied my appeal. And get ready to write and write and write and write and write. You will write a 2 to 3 page paper every week, sometimes more. It is the least effective program ever. Then I went to try and get hired in public health, and they said I would need a real degree in public health. This program does not meet the accreditation requirements for the Council on Public Health Educations, and as such will not be accepted in any of the 50 states, any World Health Organization region, the CDC, or CSTE. In other words, do not do it. Also, by taking 3 courses per term, it will get you through the program in less than a year. No public health degree can be or should be taken that quickly. Point being, steer clear or get robbed. Something I want you to notice is that it's not accredited, even though he said it is accredited. A few other things I want you to hear and to hold on to in the back of your head is this program does not meet the accreditation or the requirements for the Council of Public Health Education in 50 states, any World Health Organization region, the CDC, or CSTE. Keep that in mind as we go along. While almost everything he said about his school was a lie, there are more egregious lies that he said, in my opinion. We're gonna end the school lies with something he put on his website, and I'll bring up a little bit more about this later, but he says on his website, I was born in Greenwich, Connecticut, and grew up in a nearby New Canaan, Connecticut, where I attended St. Luke's School until I graduated in 2004. I attended New York University and earned a Bachelor of Science in Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering and went to the Columbia Mailman School of Public Health, where I earned a Master's of Public Health and Environmental Health Science with a concentration in molecular epidemiology. I spent 2 years in Thailand with the World Health Organization in their field epidemiology training program, and then completed a fellowship in HIV at the University of North Carolina Gillings School of Public Health. 1. How could you be with the World Health Organization when you just said in your review that you're not accredited to be with them in any way, shape, or form? How could you do these other things as well? Because again, it wasn't accredited and you aren't accredited. And fun fact, he didn't grow up in Connecticut, and there is no HIV fellowship at the University of North Carolina where he did not go to school. I'll talk about the Thailand thing later. Let's move on to Tico Hardy. This might be the most egregious lie out of all of them. Even if you wouldn't say it is, it's definitely the top 3. For sure. He made a video talking about his licensure and trying to prove that he has licenses of some kind. Here is the picture. He has the name marked out, which I think it's a bit weird, and apparently so did others. It was proven by our exorcist that he lied about this. That was not his license. It was a black woman named Tico Hardy. I'll let Savannah explain more.
This right here is what I want to focus on, because this is you trying to defend yourself, and you artfully redact part of the first name to make it look like it belongs to you, TJ Hardy. But when you look up those license numbers, they don't belong to you, they belong to a Tico Hardy. So that is extremely problematic, especially when you consider that Tico Hardy is a black woman. What are you doing?
That, by the way, is a felony, which he did get in trouble with the law for and is currently, per Savannah's message to me, sitting in El Paso jail for getting in trouble for going against his probation he got from the Tico Hardy situation by getting arrested for assault and other things. He also lied about being an advanced RN, but he is a certified addiction counselor. That seems to be the only thing he has said that is partially true. But he has a certification from Oregon and lives in Colorado, so we can't really use it. Now, let's talk about him being an epidemiologist. The way Pax got so popular on TikTok was due to him calling himself an epidemiologist. He actually specifically said in his bio on TikTok that he was a field epidemiologist. He would also start his videos off like this.
Hi, it's Pax, your favorite field epidemiologist. Hi, it's Pax, your favorite field epidemiologist. Hey everybody, it's Pax, your favorite field epidemiologist.
One of the lies he tried to hold on to while everything was being shown and proven to be false was the fact that he was an epidemiologist. Here is a video he specifically talked about that in.
Okay, let's get right back into it. The accusation is Pax lied about being an epidemiologist. That is 100% verifiable and false. I was an epidemiologist. I still am. However, because it's my reputation, my credibility on the line, I'm going to present the evidence and you can decide for yourself. Now, don't misunderstand. There were a lot of lies, but not that. Epidemiologists need to be licensed professionals, period. And I've spoken about this in my content at length. During my time as an epi at CDPHE, we had grad students and nurses who were titled epidemiologists with no credential to be an epi. So many of you have been misled and I feel bad for you, but it's understandable. I did lie. Let's get started. Here's the proof that I was an epidemiologist. So here's an email that is offering me the job as epidemiologist through the CDC Foundation with CDPHE. You can verify this information if you want. This email is talking about my first day. So I already went through the background check and got the job by this point. I don't know anything beyond that, but you get more. All verifiable. I'm not playing the victim here. There were lies. I never had to pretend to be anything. I take ownership for what I did in lying, but not in lying about being an epidemiologist. And even though I have the right to say it, I'm going to retire the phrase, hey, it's Pax, your favorite field epidemiologist.
The thing about TJ Hardy is that he never actually shows or proves anything, but acts as though he's showing and proving everything. Here is a video where our exorcist proves that he's also lying about the one thing he said he isn't lying about.
Here is the long-awaited update to Mr. Tyler Hardy. A FOIA was requested from the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. They confirmed that he was employed from June 1st, 2022 to November 21st, 2022, and verified that he was terminated. This is important because Tyler claims to have worked for the Colorado Department of Public Health for much longer than June 2022. This FOIA includes his job description as well as his resume. Now, in his job description, they listed him as a sexual health services provider, not an epidemiologist. Remember, he didn't graduate with his MPH until after he started working for the Colorado Department of Public Health, but in the objective, he states that he's a contract epidemiologist. He includes in his resume twice that he worked for CDC Foundation, Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, once with his supervisor team lead. And then again here, not only listing himself as his own supervisor, but his username. There is no CDC Foundation department at CDPHE. They are completely separate entities. I'm waiting to hear back from CDC Foundation to see if they'll respond to inquiries about this, but considering this department doesn't even exist, it's reasonable to assume that his position didn't either. A FOIA was requested for the supervisor that Tyler originally listed for that position, and I did confirm that they did work for the Colorado Colorado Department of Public Health, not CDC Foundation. Curiously, they resigned 10 days prior to Tyler getting terminated. I don't know yet if those dates are significant, but considering Tyler showed their credential as his own in a video from November 2021 when he got questioned a year ago about his credentials, it's possible that this person is also a victim of impersonation. Back to the resume, he says he worked for Pueblo Department of Public Health and Environment from September 2021 to November 2021. They have no record of his employment. But also in that same video from November 2021, Tyler green screens an email allegedly from October 2021 where he says that he's the deputy state epidemiologist for Rhode Island. The signature at the bottom is very clearly photoshopped. After it says thank you, the margins are off, and those titles we already know are bullshit. States that he was working for California's Department of Public Health from January 2016 to June 2019, when actually he was the director of marketing and communications at a company in Denver. The FOIA for California's Department of Public Health has not been responded to yet, but again, I think we can safely assume that it's bullshit. There are valid questions as to how this phony resume could have possibly been accepted, but as it's been communicated to me, most public health departments are severely understaffed, and they probably didn't know until someone told them, much like someone informed Dr. Hardy that Tyler stole her credentials. This brings us to the court issue. Tyler bonded out on December 4th. No, I don't have his mugshot, sadly, and I don't know if he turned himself in or if he was picked up by Denver police. He has court on December 22nd, where he is advised of the charges against him, and then he has an arraignment hearing on December 29th, where a plea will be entered. I will keep y'all updated.
So as you can see, he was obviously lying about being an epidemiologist. Not only that, but you can see in his quote-unquote resume when he was applying to that job, it shows his education, and it doesn't really look like the education we saw earlier in the other resume, does it? I wish I didn't have to tell you this next slide, but it's a pretty important part of it. The next slide was about the Black AIDS Institute and his donations to it. He had previously said that he was able to donate over $7,000 in honor of someone named Uncle Regis who allegedly died of HIV, and it all stemmed from his uncle Matt, we love so much, who also died of HIV. It turned out that neither of those people were real. He was getting called out during this time when all of this was coming out about the $7,000 donation he said he made, when in fact, he didn't. Here's what Pax said about it.
Hey everybody, it's Pax. More accusations are going to be revealed today, right now as a matter of fact, and in honor of World AIDS Day. The accusation is Pax swindled, stole, grifted, conned his followers out of nearly $7,000 in 2021. This incredibly serious accusation is 100% false. There's a record on my profile right now of all of the donations that were made from my account to Black AIDS Institute. Where did $7,000 come from anyway? Is it because I said I raised, what was it, $3,255, and somehow someone knew that I was going to double that amount? Well, I did say that, but gifts from lives, that's what I was doubling. So, what did I make in live gifts in 2021? So July was the first month that I had ever gone live, and I made $0.00. August, I made 89 cents. September, I made $24.51. October, see, 21. $20.49. So in November, I took out $59.46, and after all of the fees and taxes they take out, $50 or $51.50. $71 is what I made total. December didn't matter because all of that money had already been taken out on the 1st to donate to BAI. So whereas I understand the fear and anxiety someone might have over this situation, thinking that money they gave me that they never really gave me in the year 2021 for a charity event that I was running in coordination with World AIDS Day would have misconstrued. But the fact of the matter is, I donated the $50 or $51.50 that I had made in gifts, and the rest of the money was donated directly by the followers. I don't have control of that over that money. Do you know how much of a liability it would be for TikTok to have you pull the money out and give it directly to the charity? That would never work. Listening to me right now probably isn't the easiest thing. I know there are a lot of hurt feelings, and I know a lot of you are expecting me to say how I'm going to do better in the future. And the video's coming. There are a lot of things to discuss, so I'm gonna do a accountability video of myself next.
Savannah then showed how he was lying.
Pax swindled, stole, grifted, conned his followers out of nearly $7,000 in 2021. This incredibly serious accusation is 100% false. Where did $7,000 come from anyway?
From you arrogant narcissist.
Last year, our community was able to raise $7,045 for Black AIDS Institute. I have no doubt that donation will be put to great use.
No, I don't think I will move on. Where is the money, Tyler?
Later on, Savannah messaged the Black AIDS Institute about the donations, and they said they never received a donation from this person for any amount of money. So he allegedly stole this money that he said he was going to give to the Black AIDS Institute Foundation. Over $7,000 gone. And the majority of that was from his followers who donated. This man calls himself an ally. However, not only did he lie about donating to the Black AIDS Institute, but he also stole the licensure and impersonated Dr. Tico Hardy, a Black woman. I wouldn't call that an ally. The next lie on my list is the lies about his own family. Here's a video of him talking about his mom and his dad and their background.
My parents met in Cairo in the mid-1970s and decided that they wanted to live together in America. My father is from Egypt, and my mother is an indigenous Moroccan, or a Berber. And as such, I currently have citizenship to the United States, Morocco, and Egypt.
So here is a picture of his Moroccan mother. It's not the lady with the black hair. It is the lady with the white shirt and the blonde hair. We know that this is his mother because below the picture, you see J.Pax Hardy saying, "Mom, you look awesome." Does she look Moroccan to you? He even tried speaking Arabic for a TikTok, boasting about how he would spend summers with his grandmother in Morocco. I'm gonna warn you, this is super cringy, knowing that it's a lie, so bear with me.
بالجميع اسمي قزيم جليل بخسي باكس لم أرى أبيض الفضل لديك لنتحدث عن مسير بلدن. My grandmother would be rolling in her grave. I'm still bad at Arabic after all this time. So yes, when my father and my grandmother were trying to repair like damages done because he ran away and eloped with my mother, which was, I mean, to my grandmother, disgraceful because she was Amazigh and he was not. So anyway, so we would go there for summers from age 10 to 13. We spent summers there, and like 8 hours of the day was spent learning Arabic. Learning about Islam. Assalamu alaikum. I have been, and I find it to actually be a really lovely place. But thank you, I'm glad you got to go experience it too.
Turns out all of this was a lie. Both of his parents are from the United States, as well as his grandmother. Like I said before, his mother's obviously not Moroccan, and neither is his grandmother, whose name is Donna, who served in the US Air Force in Colorado. He also said that his dad died from COVID, but that's a lie too. His dad is alive and well. Here's actually a picture of his dad's Facebook, and it shows that he lives in San Diego and is from Newcastle, Colorado, and he's still alive. Could you imagine faking your father's death from COVID? Disgusting. Back to the Thailand thing. He spoke about going to Thailand for 2 years with the World Health Organization in the field of epidemiology for their training program. He said in his review that it was not accredited and he could not work with the World Health Organization. But it turns out he never went to Thailand, but his stepsister did. Well, she went to Taiwan. That's right. His stepsister went and he acted as though it was him. He didn't even get the place right. This person will steal others' identities and take their experiences, acting as though they were his own. The last lie I want to cover in this video, which there are plenty more, but I don't have time, is when he faked unaliving himself after he was exposed by Savannah. He faked unaliving himself by acting as though he was his mother and messaging people saying that he unalived himself. People started attacking our exorcist and saying things like this in a Discord. Pax's mom just notified me, and from what was said, he unalived himself. I'm still trying to figure this out and not commenting further. Funeral is Saturday. Joanna GPT said, "Seriously, Savannah actually did it. She killed someone." Taz said, "This is what I'm being told." Princess said, "How do we know she's being honest?" Taz said, "I don't. That's why I'm not commenting further until it is fully confirmed. I'm sure it will be shortly." Ultimately, he obviously did not do that. Him and Savannah talked on the phone about it. Here's what he said happened. I'll let you listen to the video because of course he couldn't tell her the truth, which is that he faked it.
Hello? Hello?
You have got a lot of explaining to do, my friend.
Who is this? Please help. Like, my other phone, I made a video last night, and I haven't been on my phone since then. My phone shuts down every 2 or 3 minutes. Every time I try to call someone, no, please wait. Every time I try to call someone, all I get is a bunch of, like, beep, 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 over and over and over. Please, I just need your help. Who am I speaking to?
Okay, I don't believe a word that's coming out of your mouth.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to.
This is the person, no, okay, you cannot lie and turn around and say that you are not the one who texted people saying that you are your mother and that you are dead.
I haven't even been on any other phone except this one. This is my work phone. I just picked it up.
We're going with the, you're going with the I was hacked. Do you realize, Tyler, that people are accusing me of murder and they are threatening to call the police because of what you did.
Why are people friending? Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you? You need to get on your social media.
Please. Oh my God, stop. Please, who are you? I've had so much to deal with since that jerk sent me the shit. Oh, please.
I don't care.
I'm not gonna be angry.
I don't
Okay,
care.
You don't care.
No, I don't care what you've had to deal with. You brought this onto yourself. You need to
what
fix
did I
it.
bring on? The being hacked on my phone? No, you don't get to tell me that what I have
You
been
didn't
experiencing
get
is
hacked. You didn't get hacked. I've spoken to your
How
family.
do you know? How the do you know?
Okay, first of all, watch your tone with me because I've had to deal with your bullshit. You're gonna have to.
Lauren P. CRNA gave some context on the matter in the comments. She said, context, Pax made an unaliving threat and went MIA. Later, pretending to be his mother, he sent a text from his own phone to another friend. That text said that Pax had taken his life earlier and the funeral would be Saturday. His followers proceeded to attack and threaten Savannah for hours, calling her a murderer. This is the first time I've heard his voice since seeing a text from that he said he downed a bottle of Valium and said, tell them I did my best. And then later, hearing he had taken his life. So I personally appreciate hearing this very much and am back to being insanely angry at him because of his irresponsible and heartless lies. How many of your personal cell phones have been hacked recently? Anyone? No? He's been texting his ex-fiancée all day from that phone. Good night. He was caught and he knew it, so he acted as though his iPhone was hacked and that hackers were doing this. This sent Savannah, like I said, horrible hate, threats, and a lot more. What kind of person do you have to be to fake your death with the intention of trying to ruin someone else's life because they exposed you for being a compulsive liar whose lies have harmed people? I think you have to be an extremely sick person to do that, and honestly, to do any of this. To lie about every single aspect of your life, taking other people's experiences, making them your own, and acting as though you are of some notoriety and are so trustworthy, when in fact, you are not. So I'm gonna end this video by talking about what he said about himself and his excuses for what he's done. Before we kind of talk about what's going on now, well, now he's in jail, but we're gonna back up a little bit to what happened after everything came out and how he tried to save his career on TikTok. I don't know. First, I'm gonna show you what he said was true about his education and how he came out with this, saying this is what it actually was. And then we'll move on to what he said about his diagnosis and stuff like that.
Hi, it's Tyler. Let's talk about the degrees and credentials that I have and don't have. And I'm not hiding anything. If you want to verify any of this, knock yourself out. So in the last video, I said something like, oh, and then I became a counselor, blah, blah, blah. Not quite. So in the fall of 2006, I was finally able to go to school at CU Boulder, and I was super excited. So I went and I spent a year there. And in the summer of 2007, I decided to leave and work. Money just seemed more important, and quite frankly, I wasn't committed to it. I had just moved to the big city, I was finally independent, and I wanted to take advantage of that. So in 2007, I went to work for a little plastic shoe company known as Crocs. By April of 2008, I was laid off and went to another company that doesn't matter. So I hated the job that I was doing, and I was really interested in public health because I did read And the Band Played On, and it was inspirational. So I decided to go get a job as a data analyst in 2008. So I went to work for the Denver Department of Public Health in 2008 and started school. So I did a lot of things in those 4 years. Data entry was the big one, but then I went into the field as a disease intervention specialist. So in 2008, I started. In 2012, I finished at Metropolitan State University of Denver with a Bachelor of Arts in Behavioral Science with an emphasis in Human Services and Counseling and a minor in Biology. So I really started to think like an epidemiologist because a lot of the individuals that I would meet who were newly diagnosed with HIV also had a substance use disorder. So I decided that I was going to become an addiction counselor. So I went through the entire program, which is about a year and a half or so, and sat for the CAC2. So I missed the test and I never got my CAC2 because the morning of the exam, I decided that I was going to just stay home and do drugs. I'm an addict and just have to live with that. So I left the county and went to a private HCA hospital, and I worked in behavioral health there. So I was a behavioral health technician, and I helped with intake and assessment. But mostly I was just like admissions, so I'd get like their insurance and fill out their demographic stuff. But it was that time that I decided I wanted to become a counselor. So my stupid little brain told me, go to Corinthian College, you can get a master's degree there in 6 months. Of course. Yeah, no, they were shut down for being a diploma mill. So that's on me, but I don't talk about that one. So between then and basically going to public health again, I just did a lot of different things. All of them I hate, and then I went to Columbia Southern where I got my MPH. So I was hired during the pandemic and worked as an epidemiologist the entire time I've been on this account claiming to be an epidemiologist. I'm not trying to be smug. I still lied. Okay, but that still doesn't tell how I became an addiction counselor. Okay.
So first off, It is, I'm sure, incredibly difficult being an addict. I could only imagine. However, I do know addicts who would never do something like this. Now we're going to talk about, like I said, his diagnosis, where he was after this happened between like December and March, kind of in that area. I'm gonna let you decide if you believe him and if you think he should be forgiven, but personally, I don't believe him. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts, and here's what he said.
Hey everybody, let's talk about the content that you can expect to see from this channel moving forward. So you will periodically see information on COVID, the vaccines, what's going on with the pandemic, and other public health related things. It is an important part of me, and I still want to talk about it. But I've moved on from public health, so all of my content won't be about public health. A lot of it will, because that's what I know, but I also know addiction counseling, so I'm working towards licensure in the state. The licensing process in Colorado is actually very tricky, but I'll get there. So with this, I'm going to talk about mental health advocacy. I'm going to talk about addiction counseling, the day in and day out of it, the frustrations and the joys. But another thing that I haven't really told anybody is that I'm in school right now to become a marriage and family therapist. So I'm pretty excited about that. So some of the content will revolve around that educational process. Okay, so let's talk about diagnosis. So the 3 diagnoses I've received are obsessive compulsive disorder, which did surprise me a little bit, post-traumatic stress disorder with a coping mechanism and defense mechanism where the lying comes from, and a confirmation diagnosis of histrionic personality disorder. I'm taking Zoloft and Abilify, and I'm learning some really cool techniques on how to stop myself from lying. So the lies themselves are not pathological. I don't lie because I have to lie. There's no impulse control behind it. I lie because I have a defense mechanism and a coping mechanism in place that prevents people from getting too close to me, likely from a trauma sustained in childhood sometime. Or adolescence, it's hard to say. We're trying to figure out when and where. None of that makes it okay. None of that makes any of this okay. I'm not using it as an excuse, and I'm not playing the victim. I've also learned that I don't have to give you energy. You are allowed to say whatever you want to me, and I'm allowed to block you.
Pax, the epidemiologist, is actually just Tyler the liar, who swindled thousands of people into giving him money and trusting him with their health and well-being. By the way, there are some people who've mentioned he was incredible at giving us code information, when in fact, he steals information from others and passes it on as his own. He actually stole the COVID-19 tracking tool he developed for the CDC from a conversation with a data analysis. And I'm going to read you the message that they sent to Savannah. Hey, about Pax, I have an interesting tidbit that just hit me. I work for a data company that we are still exploring options, looking to analyze and provide tracking of medical data. Think like tracking, future emerging outbreak tracking, and even overlay our existing data tracking of military clashes or migration in relation to public health implications. Even long term, I was thinking how this could be used to overlay, say, flood or disaster data, and then collect the probability of certain diseases in global regions for team like WHO and DWB. I was really excited about my work project and approached him asking him for education and pointing on data sources like this so we could spin this up for PubSec and research organizations. I figured since he was a data-based field epidemiologist, he would know. He read it, said it's great, and never got back to me. Now I know why. His information was stolen from others and their hard work. I would also like to say I know others who have histrionic personality disorder that have not done a thing like this before. He is also now apparently doing online counseling. I personally don't think he should do anything in public health or anything that has to do with people ever. But again, that's my opinion. He is currently sitting in the El Paso jail, allegedly, so at least he's not hurting anyone at this point. Let me know your thoughts below, and let me know other people and companies you want me to cover. I have a feeling a lot of you are as shocked as I am. Like this video if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more like it. Thanks for being here and watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Show you what I'm all about. Make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him. I don't care about what has been. I only care about yours.